Hey, morning, folks. We got to play Elderath last night. We ended up skipping our last session because of things with the GM going on. But anyway, my computer was acting slow, so I was rebooting as the game actually got going. So there's a bit that I missed at the very beginning. But it's all discussions about that great sword that Alexander had dragged out of the vault. Um, he was talking with the lieutenant about it, I believe, and then when she touched it, a 10-foot radius light started to glow. And so they took it to the historian and he tried casting some spells on it. But the spells failed when they reached the sword itself. Oh. So the lieutenant says, "Here, let me try this first." And she goes and she picks it up. And of course, a light comes on. And so he casts some more spells. And okay, this is some sort of a holy weapon. And at that point, he kind of looks at the lieutenant going, what have you been hiding from us, kind of thing. So only someone who has been blessed by Lorath can actually wield this weapon. And this discussion is involving Runt and Alexander, with the historian and the lieutenant. The rest of us are back in the tents trying to sleep or whatever, right? And as this discussion goes on about where'd this come from, how did you get it, that kind of stuff, it gets out that there was in fact a gate there, and about its defenses and the energy beam and the intelligence and the voice and the fourth corner of the circle of Stolf. At that, the historian gets really, really excited. He tells them, "Gather forces. We're going to the mine." So he heads out. Here is almost middle of the night, and he's going to go out. He's going to take them with him. And of course, the rest of us are going, "Wait, wait, wait." Um, so Alexander starts waking everybody else up, and Remus says a few things, and then West, gets up and runs out there and runs to the, "Hey, wait. It's not safe to go in yet. We haven't cleared it up. There's the spider witch of all things that we need to deal with first." But there's discussion about, the historian's in charge. He wants to go in. We're here to protect him. Show us the way, kind of thing. So, okay. And West makes a point. Not necessarily going the long way around, because to get there, there's only one way to get there, and it's down and through. But to point out every time we come across a spider hole, stop. I've had about 10 people. There's a hole in the roof. That's a spider hole. We haven't cleared that out. There may be spiders in there. And then when we get to the caverns that are covered with webbing, and point out, these are all the minor bodies that the spiders have killed over the weeks. It's still dangerous here. Oh, and we get to once we get towards the top, there's that pathway that, from dragging ore carts around, and we're going through this way, and we stop at the one rise that Raymond first went up to take a look upside, where he saw the ladders, although we didn't know they were ladders. Okay, now up there is where we ran into the spider witch, and in the process of trying to emphasize the danger here, Wes talked about the Thorg worshipping spider witch, and that got the lieutenant's attention. Where's the statue? Because we had mentioned the statue up there, and we had tried to do a desecration on it, but we got cut short with the spider witch and then everybody being hurt and stuff. So we go to that little cavern area at the very end where the thing is, and she pulls the sword out, and of course it lights up. But as that sphere of light gets close to where the statue is, you can see where it's being pressed up against. So it's not actually lighting up the statue, right? There's something around the statue that's keeping the light from getting there. And when she gets close to it, she says a prayer to Lorath, and then hacks at it with that greatsword, ends up destroying the whole statue. Oh, and as we're up there, we keep pointing out that square hole. Shooting down, she can come back up. We need to be careful here. So they set up some guards. They put a torch over by the hole so they can backlight it. And then a couple of guards said there's a mound in the cavern area before the appendix, the little area that the statue's in. And so they set up a couple of guards there with crossbows and stuff. And as we're coming back, one of them points to the, oh my God, what's that? There's this black shadow on the ground of the cavern moving towards us. Oh, and we have to make intelligence rolls. Intelligence has 3. And Wes and Runt both make theirs. In fact, Wes's was a special success. And so Wes and Runt had to make sanity rolls. Because this thing is an insectoid demon from the first pale kind of thing. And that special success was that Wes recognized it being a demon from the first pale. To run to, it's just a demon thing, something that's not natural, right? So we lose a couple points of sanity there, and are frozen up the first round. So Lieutenant and Raymond and Tindo are like close up there, so they all gather on to attack it, because once Lieutenant pulls her sword and the light beams up, then people can actually see, that it's this demon thing. It's not just that pool of darkness. And they attack. She ends up hitting one of the legs, and or one of the arms. It does enough damage that it's useless, but it's not amputated. But in the process of doing that, its blood splattered out. And Tindo and Raymond had to either dodge or attempt to parry it with their shield. Raymond dodged. Tindo attempted to parry with her shield, and this acid for blood starts eating away at her shield. not a good thing, guys. Tindo attacks and Raymond attacks. They both are successful in their hits. They don't seem to do a lot of damage. In fact, the weapons themselves take the damage that they inflicted, but their own, the weapons hit points. So the sword's got 20 hit points, and he's not doing 20 points of damage. They're doing less damage than will, so it won't actually hurt the weapons. But there's that possibility, right? not good, guys. The soldiers are kind of freaking out. The historian casts a spell on, maybe Raymond missed, on Tindo's weapon. Says, hit it again, hit it. And when he cast that spell, Tindo's sword lit up. Magic now. And then the lieutenant says, everybody stay in the light. So Runt moved forward a bit in the light. I forgot what he did. And then Wes moved forward into the light. And he was going to cast Hold Kind. One, to see if it can't, reduce, the number of attacks, the things that it can do, and maybe hopefully, when he discusses more with the GM about what does this reduces maneuver or movement to 25%. What that really means, because people used it like once, I think it was, and it was somebody trying to get away. So that was easy. I want to get that power versus power roll. But just before that spell goes off, the lieutenant attacks again. Headshot. No, the lieutenant parried that round against an attack that was a special, So that did a bunch of damage to another limb. So there's another spray of acid blood. And then, but the lieutenant does attack before Wes gets his spell off, and she hits him in the head. And remember if that was a special? It may have been a special as well. No, it wasn't special, but she did a massive amount of damage. She rolled really well on her damage, and headshot killed it. And so it collapses and just kind of fizzles away. And then there's after that point, there's some conversation again, side conversations pointed towards the historian about, it's not safe here. We don't need to be doing this right now. But the demon is gone. And we take him down to where the gate is, and he's investigating stuff. And there's some discussion about, how old it is and when it was broke. If he could, because the historian's casting some spells on stuff. And so the gate itself is like 500 years old, and it was broken open. The gate itself is like 700 years old, and the gate itself was broken open about 500 years ago. So it was up for 200 years, but then, 500 years until now, what's been going on kind of thing. So a lot of discussion about, which reminds me, all that's in the live play. Oh, and somewhere in there we took a break, and I forgot to restart the recording. So the second half is kind of, they're playing again. Oh, okay. Okay, the historian tells us stay out of the way, and he's going to enter the vault. We all hear that welcome message thing again, and then the broken pillar, the broken area of the pillar, because Wes had understood the broken pillar on the ground was what blew it, but it's not. It's like if where the broken part of the pillar where it should be, that area starts to glow like a lattice structure of the pillar that should be there. And as that starts to glow, he departs. The historian, he departs. And so there's no firing of the defense mechanism. The historian's deep in thought, and then Wes kind of asks him about the skeletons, because Wes thinks, they're probably elves. An elvish dagger, right? They're probably elves back there. And if they're elves and they got elvish stuff, right? That's kind of cool. And so Wes does ask, hey, do you think any of those skeletons are elves? And he's looking back and, oh, yeah, well, that one is. And so we kind of mark on the skeleton on the map, mark that skeleton. And then Runt starts to figure out, okay, now it takes so long for the thing to fire. How fast can I go? How close can I get? What? Hang on, how? Get more stuff. Can we get more stuff? Starts theorizing on different ways to do it. He decides to take a rope, and make a lasso, but a loop, right? And I guess he could run part way and throw it out there if he loops big enough, right? Big area capture, and then run back out, and then pull the rope so he can't get something, right? And so he's at the entrance of the vault, which is an actual circle, and he's trying to clear debris away. So he's running back and forth. He's going to trip and fall and that kind of stuff. And while all this is planning and discussions going on, well, I says, well, what about using one of the ladders? Yeah, that 5 hex one. So you got instead of a rope, you've got an actual square of ladder steps, a couple squares of ladder steps, dragging stuff out, right? And we just need to get into that dead area where it's close enough to run in and get it. So Wes goes up to get a ladder, and while that's going on, makes his first dash. He rolls a 100. He fumbled on his way through. But he recovers, and the GM is just trying to, okay, how many segments does it take to do this? How many segments to do that? What happens here? And he ended up getting. There was an incident earlier where he had, and during the experiment stuff, where he had dashed in and dashed out, trying timing the thing, and it was hiding against the far wall, but the laser. Wes had understood the laser would shoot off from a panel piece between the two pillars, right? I had imagined just a single spot, right? But no, this laser thing can fire from anywhere from the back wall. And so from anywhere in the back wall, we do get an angle to where Runt was trying to hide. And so I'm saying, okay, you can cover so many contiguous body locations. What's left over? Well, he's going to stick his head in, so it's probably his ass sticking out. So the legs and abdomen are in danger, and it ended up rolling a chest shot. So it hit the wall. But anyway, so his fumble, right? He gets up and he's running back out when the laser fires and gets him in the right leg, disintegrates 10 inches of his leg. Other half falls to the ground. He falls to the ground. We're all freaking out. Wes shows up with the ladder. What are you doing? Excuse me. Um, the lieutenant runs up and Paladin laying on hands kind of thing. Heals him, but only for 1 point. And he is cauterized. He's not bleeding out, but he lost his leg. So there's some discussion. Okay, what does this really mean? How many points of dexterity do I lose? What's my movement drop to? All that kind of stuff. And then we start making jokes about Gimpy and Stumpy and about getting a peg leg. And well, one of the good things about a peg leg is it's got 8 hit points instead of your 4. Oh. But there was a lot of joke on going in through this area. I don't remember it all now, but there was some funny stuff. Let's see. Oh, and Wes is in the party are all discussing about some sequence of events on things, on when the mine actually stopped working. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's gone. Where did it go? Because it's not here. We've only found we found out in the mine just 2 things: the Elvish dagger and the undead short sword. And we pulled this holy weapon and an elvish sword or just a silvered steel sword, out of here ourselves. Where is all this stuff? And there's a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of area down here in the line that we have not encountered, gone through, cleared out. So we're trying to figure out, 700 years ago it was built. 500 years later, somebody broke through. At some point recently, the miners broke through to this area of the mine, but they were dragging the ore cart along that trail, and they had the ladder. So I'm assuming they were digging down the square hole, looking for stuff, finding stuff, whatever. And then somehow things got out, and then the spider witch found out about things and came in with her and the orcs and the goblin, or the orc and the goblins, that kind of stuff. So there's only been a few weeks kind of deal. So we're just trying to, in our heads, get some kind of a sequence of events, but we just, no idea. It is still very confusing. But the historian is convinced there's nothing more that we can do here. We need additional resources. And it's very unlikely there are any more gateways in the mine. There is a gateway here. They're not going to build an extra one, in this area. There is one here. That's it. So we are returning to Kars and reassess what to do next. And that he expects that the Baron will occupy the mine. So next day, we head back to Kars. It takes 5 days to get back to Kars. We arrive at Kars. There were no encounters in the way. And we do take, Tindo and Raymond take Runt to the temple. Okay, how much would it cost, to, magically regrow his limb, that kind of thing, right? They run into the lieutenant there, and she's kind of, you guys probably don't need to worry about the cost because, you guys don't understand the value of all the stuff you guys found. And it reminds us that during the debriefing that truth spells will be used. So Wes is okay. We were trying to find some housing, a couple of apartments or an apartment for enough rooms for all of us, or maybe a house or something. And I forgot his name. Starts with an H. Our connection here has been looking for that kind of stuff. Also, this kind of downtime kind of stuff. Wes is interested in finding a weaponsmith and a silversmith. And there are weaponsmiths both that support the castle and are available for everybody else. So Wes is thinking if I can get his rapier silver inlaid to get that silver bonus, that would be a good thing. So that's what he's got in his head. There's some discussion. Oh, and everybody agrees. We'll tell them everything. We have nothing to hide. And Russ specifically brings up the fact that that sword, you really should let the lieutenant keep that thing because she can use it. If it's just sitting in a museum, nobody's going to use it. And if you got that defending the barony, that's some kick-ass power. And everybody agrees, yeah, absolutely, she should be able to keep it. It's just our opinion, obviously, but we try to influence that. But it's brought out that the discovery of the corn of Stolf is of considerable value. And helm. Oh, Hammerhand. I forgot, but our liaison with the Baron and the Chamberlain and the rest of the city is discussing things with us. He's the one who brings up this fact that finding this corner of Stolf is of considerable value. In fact, that might be enough for you to get a boat and they can travel back to Telgar. Would that be of interest to you? So he's trying to get that venue running. And there's more discussion about the sword. And it almost sounds at one point like we could choose a sword as part of our recompense, and then we can gift it to the lieutenant. I think, well, that's not what we're thinking. No, but yeah, there's maybe the temple would be willing to purchase it. And then we're in town for 11 more days as the various interviews and things go on. We get a chance to roll for our check marks. And Wes specifically mentions that from time to time he'll find himself wandering down by the temple area hoping to bump into Lieutenant Grimm. he's kind of got a crush on her. Although she's almost out of his league kind of thing, right? I've got his deal when it comes to interactions with people, right? Not a lot, some games will say, give you that appearance thing. If they're pretty, then you'd like them kind of thing. Well, that's not true. You like the people who are similar to you in appearance level. I mean, there are people who are out of your league, right? But there's certain people, just, that magnetism, that attraction occurs, right? And so what I do is I'll roll 3d6 for a difficulty level, right? And the lower the number, the more difficult it is. And Wes rolled a 5 for his difficulty level in attraction to Lieutenant Grimm. Then I roll a d20, represent percentile kind of thing, right? And if you roll, your target number or less, then it's a success, right? And he rolled a 3. So difficulty 5, she's a bit out of his league, but a 3. Yeah, he likes her. And then roll a check mark. I had a check mark for my dodge. How many times do you get a check mark for your dodge when it's so low? And I missed it because I'm rolling low on these stupid check mark rolls. I hated that. I missed a bunch of rolls. Some of the higher ones, which obviously Victor probably would. So I got like three check marks successful, and they're all mediocre stuff. So it was disappointing. But anyway, we are in. It is still year 684 of the Lords of Bloodstone, which is year 28 of the Lady Tamara, which is year 7 of the Zodiac. Grelius, the fasting year for vows and initiations. We are in month 3. It is now week 3, day 4, which is called Tenwa. And we'll see what happens. It turns out that the next time we're scheduled to play is during Gen Con, and I'll be at Gen Con. In fact, I've got 3 games to run that Saturday night. So we're kind of looking at maybe doing it actually next Saturday, because I know I'm open then. So that's something we'll discuss online as things get closer to that. 24 minutes. Happy gaming.